Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Hobbs High School Multi-Purpose Facility and the Weight Room as we prepare for the 2020-2021 NMAA State Powerlifting event. 6 Hobbs Eagles, actually 5 Hobbs Eagles and 1 Hobbs Lady Eagle going to be participating today in this event. Of course, because of COVID, the schools and the lifters are each doing things at their own schools. All of the Hobbs lifters, to minimize the time in, will be going basically at the same time. Joined by Coach Q from Hobbs High and the football program and the powerlifting program. Coach, thanks for being here this afternoon. Thanks for all your help as we got here and got set up. So we've got 6 lifters out there. Kenyon Johnson, Juan Gonzalez, Brian Valdez, Malachi Rodriguez, and Daniel Chaparro for the Eagle boys, and then Ali Prieto lifting for the Eagle girls. Now, tell us a little bit about powerlifting. There's 3 different types of lifts. Am I right on that?
Yes, sir. You got your squat, you have your bench press, and you have your deadlift.
So 3, and they get 3 attempts at each. Am I right on that?
Yes, sir.
And thinking that. Okay, and of course the Hobbs Eagles in their last time out back in December, coming in 4th overall. And Kenyon Johnson, we've been told, will be first, and we have Johnson. He is on the very end, so he will be attempting his very first in the squat. And you'll have to I apologize in advance for the kind of goofy camera work that I'm going to be doing here today. So Johnson has made his first lift as we get zoomed in on him. Of course, we'll have those numbers after each one of these young men and the young lady do their individual events. So should be an exciting event. Of course, we're very happy to have Lee County athletics back in the form of powerlifting. And we're very proud to be with you here on HobbsAmerica.com and on the Hobbs Sports YouTube channel. So the first one is done, and as we move over to the next one with Juan Gonzalez, as Juan having a little bit of trouble on that lift. I believe that was his first attempt at the squat. So the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift are what they are doing. Of course, we are live at the multi-purpose facility here at Hobbs High School. And this is part of the state meet. Now, much different this year, Coach. Normally we'd have all the lifters in one place and we'd be doing things at once, but each school is doing their part of the state meet at their individual weight rooms. Is that, did I get that right?
Yes, sir. I believe that's correct.
So it's just going to be a good time. Of course, Hobbs, 4th overall in the Week 2 powerlifting. Of course, Week 3 was canceled, so they've gone straight here to the championship round. Of course, Coach Landreth working with these young men and women. They're going both for team gold and for individual gold. We'll take a look at some of the numbers from the prior meet with the guys and the gals who are here now in the 148-pound weight class. Back in December, Malachi Rodriguez, the junior for the Eagles, he was number 2 overall. Malachi is lifting here today. He was in the 3rd stall. Also lifting today, Brian Valdez was in 4th place in the 181-pound class back in December. And those are the 2 that are here today that competed back then, unless my notes are wrong, and my notes are often wrong. So if I'm missing somebody, go ahead and, just excuse me now in advance. So Braden Strickland, back in the earlier one back in December, actually won his weight class at 132 pounds, but the senior not able to be with us today. And we have Ali Prieto also joining us, so a Hobbs Lady Eagle with us today as well. So, Coach, when we talk about powerlifting and what these young men and this young lady are doing, is their proper form, I guess? I mean, I've heard Coach Landreth talking a lot about, stepping back, but as you look at different body types, you got some kids that are bigger than others, some kids that are taller and lankier. Are there different forms and, different proper ways to lift by body type?
I guess in some way, but, for squat and powerlifting, the rules apply for the same kids all across the board. They must, for the squat, their knees, actually their hip must be slightly below the top of the knee for it to be a successful squat.
And right there, we saw a successful squat for Malachi Rodriguez. And so Malachi successful in his first squat attempt. You get 3 attempts, and then you take the best of the 3 and then add them all up, and that's how you get the score ultimately at the end.
Yes, sir. And that was a good squat by Brian at 335.
And so we will move over to our next lifter here. That's Daniel Shapiro. He's lifting, got it down, comes up, and he will walk back and he will put it on the bar to maintain proper social distancing. Of course, we are quite a ways away, and with all the lifters going at the same time, it takes a little bit more time to do this as the coach and the judges are doing that. So we've had attempts by 5 of our lifters, the 5 boys. Ali Prieto, I believe, will be attempting her first lift coming up here in just a few minutes. So again, from the Hobbs weightlifting facility here at the Hobbs Multipurpose Facility, great to have you with us. I'm TJ Miracle alongside Coach Q. As Prieto, if we can see if we can get tight enough over there. We're at kind of a bad angle here, I will admit, but we'll do the best that we can. As Prieto does manage, as she gets her first one up, and we'll get it back on the rack. So we are underway, and our coverage today, of course, brought to you by our great friends at XL Energy. XL Energy, good folks and good folks to know, powering through with XL Energy. So the first lift in the squat is in the books for our Hobbs Eagle lifters here today, and just a great day to do this. And Coach, I know we're all excited that sports will be coming back before very long, team sports, hopefully. Of course, we're still waiting on all of the final confirmations, but what's it meant for these kids to get to compete, in anything, in this case powerlifting, but it still gives them a chance to work out and to be a part of a team?
Yes, sir. I think it means a lot for these kids, to get the opportunity to compete, and that's the biggest things for kids here in New Mexico, just being able to compete and get out there and have a little fun. It means a lot to them.
Well, and it's been very important for all of these kids, and I know we're all looking forward to hopefully getting things back to normal. But, of course, hats off to the Hobbs Eagle program and all the programs around the state who have, continued to try and find ways to get their kids in and to get them involved. As we've got a number coming in, Coach?
Yes, sir. We got a Canyon with 240.
So Canyon with a 240-pound squat. So I believe that was his second attempt. So 240 for Canyon, as I'm trying to keep up with all of the numbers here. So as they're being relayed to us, and we appreciate Mr. Prieto helping us on those relay attempts. So, all right, looks like we are coming over for another attempt on the end over here with Canyon.
And that'll be 250, excuse me.
So 250 on his second attempt, so he's pushing up his third attempt, and so Canyon will push up. I believe that was his third attempt, and was that the 250, Coach? Or?
That was his second attempt.
Oh, that was his second attempt. Okay, so 250, and he did get that one up. So Canyon with his second attempt successful on 250. So moved that one up pretty good. Now, in the last time they did this, let me see, I thought I saw Canyon on here somewhere, but he apparently has disappeared from my list. I love it when that happens. So as I continue to kind of go down the list, I know Canyon was on here, but for the life of me, I can't find him. And I made notes all over this thing to make sure that wouldn't happen. But so Canyon got his second lift in as we will move down the list. So Juan Gonzalez next as he will step back, as he will get it steadied up, and he will squat it down. And he will work on bringing it up, as being encouraged but not able to get up the amount of weight that he had there was Juan Gonzalez. You might think, oh, well, this can't be too hard. I mean, this is pretty tough stuff, isn't it, Coach?
Oh, yeah, it's tough.
So Juan not able to get up his second lift, and I believe that was his second one.
That was his second left at 375.
So at 375, so 375, but not successful in that. So as we move down the list into slot number 3 with Malachi Rodriguez.
It's going to be a 240-pound lift.
So 240 for Malachi as he takes a step out, and so is ready. And he will bring it down, has to get down a little bit, and he got it, and now he will bring it up, and so a 240-pound lift successful for Malachi Gonzalez. So a good lift there.
Yeah,
It looked like maybe struggling a little bit, but you got to remember Malachi weighs less than 150 pounds, and I'll be the first to admit that's probably more than I could lift. Malachi, 255 was his best attempt last time. So getting some things there. What are we hearing, Coach?
I think we're at 335.
So
Brian.
For Brian. So as we move on to Brian Valdez, Brian at 335 takes it down and brings it up. Yes, 335 pounds.
That was a pretty good squat. A lot of depth on that squat.
Yes, there was, and he managed to get the depth and also get it picked back up. So Brian Valdez with a very good squat there. Brian, 310, his best one in the meet back in December. So, kind of work your way up to it. You don't want to start with as much as you think you might be able to do, right, Coach? There is a little strategy involved here, I would think.
Yeah, there's a strategy involved to it. And, sometimes this depends on the kid, Some kids can get right in there to something they think they can lift and go right out of it. But some kids probably need to take their time and work their way up with the weight. And
so now it'll be Daniel Chaparro as Daniel. I believe this will be his second attempt as well. Daniel, a soccer player, also on the powerlifting team. This is, of course, thanks to parents and volunteers who are helping keep everything safe here. So Daniel.
This is a 250 lift.
So 250 attempt for Daniel Chaparro. He gets up under it, takes his step back, as the coaches encouraged him to do. And so now he will take it all the way to the ground and now has to power it up, and he will power it up.
Great lift.
And that is a successful lift there for Daniel Chaparro at 250 pounds in this state meet, Class 6A for powerlifting. Now, Coach, do you know, are they keeping it in classifications this year? Or I noticed on the list from the last meet from back in December, we've got 6A schools, 5A schools, 2A schools, 1A schools. Is it all combined this year for powerlifting?
I believe so. It looked like it. Like it's all combined, just getting whatever schools want to compete.
Well, and it's all about the competition and just doing the best that, these kids can as they move on. And so now we will move down to the end for our Hobbs Lady Eagle, that's Allie Prieto, who is lifting today, as she will take it down. And she will bring it all the way back up. A good lift there for Allie. Do we have a number on that one, Coach?
120 pounds.
120 pounds. So good job by Allie Prieto with that 120-pound squat lift. You may not think that 120 pounds, that's not much. Try picking up 120 pounds yourself. Just think about hauling in a bottle of water from your car or something. That's 40 pounds. Think how much that weighs. Well, that's 4 times or 3 times that. So that's a lot of weight all at one time. Of course, in powerlifting, you get 3 attempts at 3 different disciplines: squat, bench press, and deadlift. As we move around to the next ones, out of these, they're going to be warming up between each discipline, I believe, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Of course, don't forget, coming up, all things hopefully on the 27th of this month, we will be back to team sports with Hobbs Lady Eagle Volleyball. We'll talk more about that coming up as we head back into the middle with Juan Gonzalez, as he will make his 3rd attempt. Got it down, brings it up, and Juan does manage to get his 3rd attempt up. And now he will re-rack it, so a good attempt there for Juan. Failed on his first 2, but was successful on the 3rd. We'll wait and see if we can get a number on what he did there.
Oh, yeah, that was 365 pounds. It was a good lift.
So 365. So indeed a very good lift for Juan Gonzalez, getting that one up, and so he will get into the books with that 365-pound lift. So a nice job as the squats. I believe maybe we're going to be done with squats. Everybody has gotten one in the books, so we'll be moving on into the second portion, which
I think we got 2 more athletes.
Do we have 2 more athletes? Okay. Where you get 3 attempts, and it's possible that we missed one. It would not surprise me at all, as all of a sudden we just kind of started going, but that's okay. less formal as we are moving into the middle. So I'm thinking next, let's see, from the middle we'll be doing the deadlift, I'm assuming here, Coach.
Yes, sir.
And again, you're working on form and also on what you can do as we will come back to slot number 3 for one more attempt, as that will be Brian Valdez, or that's Malachi.
That's Brian.
That's Brian, okay.
I think he's trying to lift. That's 345.
So 345 for Brian. Gets it down and pushes it up. So pushes up another 10 pounds from his 335 successful attempt. So gets the 345 up, and that's a very good move there for Brian Valdez. Only did 310 back in the initial meet. So, improved his number there by 35 pounds.
That's a big jump for a guy his age.
Yeah, it certainly is. So 35-pound in just a little over a month was very, very good. So a good number there put up by Brian Valdez. As looks like Ali Prieto going to prepare, and she is going to make her third attempt. So we'll see if we can get that spun over there.
I think Ali's trying to come in at 135 on the squat.
So 135 on the squat for Ali Prieto. Did successfully lift 120 earlier, now is going to be attempting 135. And again, we're having to shoot, to maintain proper distancing and everything. We are having to shoot through equipment with everybody going at once to, again, minimize time spent on these. As Ali checking her bar and doing what she wants to do, of course. This season for Hobbs, Lovington, and Eunice, we will be video casting as much as we can, in addition to being on the radio on the 27th of this month. Of course, pending approval by the governor's office, we will have Hobbs Lady Eagle Volleyball, also Eunice Lady Cardinal Volleyball, and Lovington Lady Cat Volleyball for you. And then right after that, of course, football, hopefully starting on March the 5th, as Allie goes up under her bar and will pick that up, take her step back, and again attempting a bigger weight as she gets it all the way down. Is now going to have to concentrate, is pushing up, but is unable to bring up her third. So Allie not successful in her third attempt, but gave it a great effort there, and you hope she's okay, as I think she maybe slipped a little bit and slipped down. So she's up, and it looks like she's going to be okay.
Yeah, she's okay. She let that back get too low and put her head down, and that kind of pushed the momentum forward.
And again, we talk about, form and format in this, Coach, and you've got to, form is important to make all this happen and to make all of this work. If you get just a little bit out when you're dealing with that much weight, it can really throw things off, I'm guessing.
Oh, yes, sir. When you get real heavy weight, form is very, very, very valuable, especially with squat. With squat, you want to keep your head up as much as possible and have a big chest, and that'll usually create a great lift with heavy weight.
So we are through with the squat portion. I believe all of our young men and women did get a successful one in, so they will be in the books. And we'll try and keep up with that as we will move on to the deadlift portion of the competition here at the Hobbs Multipurpose Facility. Hobbs Eagle portion of the State Powerlifting Championships here in 2021. As I was saying, again, coming up on the 27th, if everything happens, we will have team sports back with volleyball. You'll be able to see all of the volleyball games this season right here on the Hobbs Eagle Sports Channel on YouTube, and also on HobbsAmerica.com, our other local teams that we'll be covering as well. We will also have them on their individual YouTube channels and whatnot. But from here at the powerlifting tournament, today's coverage is brought to you by our friends at XL Energy. XL Energy, together we will power through. Check out XL.com, and they will give you all of the latest and what they're doing during the pandemic to help their communities. XL Energy, great partners of the Walmart Digital Solutions and all of Hobbs and Lee County. Couldn't do it without their help and support. So now we get into the deadlift, and the deadlift, Coach, and of course it's different for every kid, but if we got let's just say Malachi in the 148-pound class, what would be considered a good deadlift? I mean, looks like he did 345 last time, so that's a pretty darn good pretty good lift, I would think, for somebody who weighs 148 to 150 some odd pounds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a real good lift. Somebody around his weight class, 345, 405, that's pretty really good. Really good.
Now, with the deadlift, and I think we've all seen it probably in the Olympics, how high up do they have to get it? This isn't one of those things they have to put it up over their heads, or is it just getting it up?
No, sir. It's just getting your back straight and standing up with the weight and make sure you're coming to balance, motionless, The referee signal you to go back down once you become motionless, once you become your arms straight and your back is straight.
And so they just work on getting it up, and I believe they're just doing warm-up lifts now. Is that correct, Coach?
Yes, sir. I think they're just getting warmed up and get ready to make some fantastic, great lifts.
Well, and that's what we want to see is fantastic, great lifts, and just the team participation and is great to see as these kids are out here working hard on a Saturday afternoon and preparing to, and not just preparing to, but are representing their school here today and representing our community. So proud to be here and proud to be a part of all of this coverage here today. So, it's all about the powerlifting today, but going to be getting, of course, into the other team sports in the coming weeks. We are certainly hopeful. Coach, I believe you're one of the football coaches. Did I am correct on that?
Yes, sir.
I thought so. So, I know you guys hadn't been able to work out and have been in limited pods and things. What's the football team going to look like this year?
Oh, I think we'll be okay. I think we're senior heavy this year. And it's exciting just getting those seniors the opportunity to go out with 5 or 6 games, however many games we're going to play. Just getting an opportunity. And they've been working really hard, with the time limit and even with the restraints that have been put on us. They're excited. We as a coaching staff is excited to get back on the field and get these kids some opportunity to showcase their skills and all the hard work they've been putting in.
Well, they certainly have, and looking forward to football season. Going to be a little different playing in the spring. I didn't know we were the old USFL here, but that may be a little before your time, Coach. I'm sorry if I'm dating myself here, but little spring football. Hey, we'll take it as long as we're getting to play.
As long as we get to play. It'll be a little bit too windy for old Coach Q, but I'll be okay.
Well, we'll be all right, Coach. Oh, come on. I heard you were from you're from Arkansas and then maybe El Paso. Did you spend some time down there?
Yes, sir. I got the military in Fort Bliss, and that was my last duty station.
Last time I checked, the wind blew down there.
Oh, it
just
blows.
say it. and we do have some stations, some sister stations in Arkansas. And while it doesn't blow quite like it does out here, the wind blows there too. I'm pretty sure. So
not as rough as here. This is a cultural shock. This is an atmosphere shock, environment shock.
Yeah, there's things called trees in Arkansas, if I remember right. They're kind of tall, green. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's pretty different.
Well, we are glad to have you here in Hobbs, and thanks again for joining us here today. I would be even more completely lost than I normally am on this without your help and guidance. So,
you're doing a great job.
Well, you are incredibly kind, Coach, and I appreciate that. I'm TJ Miracle, by the way, alongside Coach Q here at the Hobbs Multi-Purpose Facility in the weight room for the Eagles portion of the 2020-2021 NMAA State Powerlifting Championships. Each school, of course, doing their own. And so we're going to continue to do, I believe, a couple of warm-up lifts. Yeah, we're still warming this one up as we move on through. Of course, Walmart Broadcasting, Walmart Digital Solutions, and our family of stations, Z94, KZOR. Also, Kicks 103, 103.7, KPZA, Eagle 100.5, and Cool 95.7, along with HobbsAmerica.com and our other web properties. Proud to be your home for Lee County High School athletics all season long. We're going to get as many games in for everybody. We're going to do, I know for a fact, every single football game, every single volleyball game, home and away, every single baseball game, every softball game that we can get in. And we're also, looking at timing and people and staffing and equipment, but to get soccer and other potential sports, as many of those as we can in this year, both on the video stream and also on the radio for our normal games like football and basketball. But this has been a strange year, has it not, Coach, for everybody with the COVID happening and everything. It's really kind of thrown the schedules and the timing, I would think, off for everything. Everybody's, I would think, just a little bit, kind of out of sorts in their conditioning and with everything else, and especially with all the restrictions, right?
Oh yes, the restrictions have made it it has made it a hassle for the kids to get a good workout in, and for the kids to prepare for their seasons. And I hate that it's going to be a short season for a lot of these athletes. I think football is playing 5 games, and basketball probably has 15 games. It's going to be really short, and for them to get prepared in time to be able to compete at a high level.
Well, has it helped, though, being able to at least get them out and even in a 4-to-1 pod? And I know there hasn't been a lot of specific work that could be done there, but has that helped any, keep them in the system and keeping them at least sort of prepared?
Yes, the 4-to-1 pods, it done an okay job trying to get kids prepared and ready.
Well, definitely looking forward to that. And of course, we're still pinned, even though the calendar has been approved, it is still pending on approval from the governor's office, as for sure when we can start on that. But we are hopeful that the 22nd is the day that workouts can start, which would mean, according to the calendar, that the 5th of March would be when the first game could be. So we're hopeful that, of course, pending approval from the governor's office, that is going to work. So we appreciate you tuning in wherever you are, here in Hobbs, Lee County, or around the world on HobbsAmerica.com and on the Hobbs Eagle YouTube channel, the Hobbs Sports YouTube channel. Of course, HobbsAmerica.com, available on all of your devices, whether it's a phone or a tablet. And I've got it up on my phone and my tablet here, also on your computers. And if you have YouTube, and you can get that on all of your devices and your smart TVs as well, smart TVs, or if your cable or satellite system has YouTube enabled on your television, you'll be able to watch the games this year. And oh, by the way, did I mention these are free? We're not some of these other groups around the state that are going to charge you $10 a game. We're going to let you watch this for free all season long for your favorite teams here around Lee County. And we couldn't do that without great folks like XL Energy making it possible for us to do that. But, we're proud that we've been able to partner with the Hobbs schools and the other school districts to bring you this service this season and hopefully well on into the future. Just a quick note, when we do get to the state playoffs, and I hope we're, very deep into the playoffs on every single team, and I think Coach Q would, agree with me, especially on the football team here in Hobbs.
Yes, sir.
We will not be able to do the video streaming at that. We're working on that for next year, but there's some contractual things there. But all of the regular season games, we will be bringing you those on the video stream, as well as football and basketball on the radio, and, of course, volleyball and other sports as we can. I mean, we will do all the volleyball games, but we'll be bringing you those on the video stream. So, exciting times here in Lee County as we continue this, as kids preparing for their lifts and preparing to bring things up. Just taking a little breather right now and kind of centering themselves. And I think that's important too, is, know exactly, when you're ready to go. This isn't a time sport where you're fighting against a clock or a play clock. Really, as long as you're moving at a clip that's acceptable to the judges, you can go lift, right?
No, usually the rules.
Or do you have a time limit?
Yes, sir. The rules are kind of different this year. Usually they have 1 minute to complete the lift from the time that the judge says start.
Hopefully, we'll be moving on as the kids continue to warm up here, as all of our young men, all the Hobbs Eagle boys, preparing for their deadlift attempts. So still working on it. Coach Landreth working with Malachi Rodriguez, and he will pick that one up. And so, still coaching as we prepare for the 3 lifts. Of course, the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. We are through the squat portion of this competition, and each one of the 6 Eagles competing here today, all with a successful squat. Eagles competing today: Kenyon Johnson, Juan Gonzalez, Brian Valdez, Malachi Rodriguez, and Daniel Shapiro, and we also do have a Hobbs Lady Eagle competing today, and Ali Prieto. So 6 Hobbs Eagles competing in today's event, which of course will be will count as the state championship event for the year 2020-2021. Of course, only 6 Eagles competing, so maybe a little hard to move up in the team rankings, but we'd certainly love to see each of these Eagles do their personal best, whether they get a medal or not.
Yes.
It's about what they can do. Now, in the individual lifts, if I'm not mistaken, for Canyon, his best attempt was 250. We had Juan, his best attempt 365. Malachi with a 240-pound successful attempt. Brian with a 345-pound successful squat. Daniel with a 250-pound squat, and then 120 for Ali Prieto. So those are the best numbers that we have at the moment. But again, successful for each one of these kids. So it looks like we'll be doing one more rep and then starting with the deadlift portion of today's powerlifting meet here from the Hobbs High Multi-Purpose Facility. So Malachi is actually on his second attempt, so somehow we missed the first one. I feel bad about that, Coach.
Yeah, me too.
They need a flashlight or something to say, okay, we're going.
Yeah.
Of course, we just get busy talking and, kind of, at least I do, and just kind of lose where we are on this. But we've got kids lifting and we're doing the best we can. So, but we're glad to have you with us. As we're just glad to have live sports back here in Lee County. And again, we appreciate the Hobbs High Athletic Department allowing us to come in and bring this to you, even though, of course, it could not be open to the public. We're proud that they have allowed us to come in and cover this and bring it to you out in the public. And, for us, I'll admit it's kind of a warm-up as we get ready for team sports in just a couple of weeks, to check on and continue hopefully to, make sure all of our equipment is working right. Well, it's nice to be able to work the bugs out. And,
yeah.
And we are looking forward to that. And, as far as I know, which of course I can't monitor all of the stream channels and everything at once. I can just look at the pretty flashing lights and, tell you that, it doesn't look like we've had at least too many problems at the moment. So, but again, great to have you with us, and we are here courtesy of our friends at Excel Energy. Together we will power through state powerlifting meet for the Hobbs Eagles. Who's preparing for the deadlifts. And so, yep, they're going to. So Malachi has made his first attempt at his. But we are waiting on the other Hobbs Eagles and the Lady Eagle to make their attempts. All right. So we will be 1 rep each. And did I hear that this will be their final warm-up and then we're going to go again? Is that right, Coach Q?
Yes, sir. I believe that's correct.
Okay. So working on it. There's a lot of weight's going to be on there. Is easing it down. So nice job there by my Juan getting his final warm-ups in. Each of the Eagles, getting their final warm-ups in as we prepare for the attempts. A lot of weight on there, and these kids picking up an awful heavy load. There's Malachi back in December. His best deadlift was 345. Brian Valdez, his best one was 375 back in December.
And it looked like Malachi about to start off at 300 pounds on the deadlift.
So Malachi starting at 300 pounds. You can do math a lot quicker than I can, Coach. Because I'm like going 1, 2. You know, I'm counting on my fingers and toes here. It's like, okay, how many is that? And
when you've been in the weight room since you was a child, it's easy to count that weight.
Well, I haven't been in the weight room in a long time, so. As Malachi will make his first attempt at 300 pounds. Gets everything steadied and settled in. So just preparing and settling in. And now encouragement from his teammates as he will pick it up. And Malachi will straighten up and then put it down. And I do believe that was a successful attempt, Coach.
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty good lift.
Yes, it was. So Malachi with a 300-pound lift on that one. 345, his best a couple of months ago.
It might have been a little bit too light for him. He was kind of unsure when he picked it up, like, oh, this is kind of light.
Well, he does still have one more attempt, I do believe. So Malachi got it in. So we're going to go 290 down at the end on Canyon. We'll move that and try and keep everybody as they attempt in frame. So a 290 attempt for Canyon as he prepares for that. Coach Landreth getting everything kind of put in where he wants it. Making sure that each one of his lifters has the amount of weight that they need. You know, you might be seeing all the weights go on to each one of these, but the bar weighs, what, 45, 50 pounds, Coach?
45 pounds.
45. Hey, I remembered something from high school. You're welcome, Coach Butler. You did teach me something. Believe it or not. So 45 pounds, of course, for the bar, and then the individual weights, and they can certainly add up quite quickly. So Canyon going to be preparing for a 290-pound lift. Okay, so just making sure. You got to keep me on track here, Coach Q.
It's okay. It's kind of hard to tell with those big rubber plates, you know. That's why I'm a big fan of iron.
So Canyon will attempt 290. And so when did they go to start using some rubber ones as well as the iron?
You know what? That's a good question. I know back when I was in high school and college, it was all iron. You know, the rubber plates are kind of confusing to see because they don't really have a size difference. You know, they're all the same size. It's hard to see the weight on the side of them.
And so Canyon did successfully get that 290 pounds up. So nice job for Canyon. I think we just picked up rocks when I was in school. So, I mean, at least you had weights. Iron hadn't been invented yet. I'm not that old.
No, not at all. I don't look like it.
Just a little bit more gray hair than I used to have back then. But 290 pounds for Canyon Johnson. So good job for him on his first attempt. Pardon me, as we move over to Juan Gonzalez, and I believe he is going to be preparing for his first attempt in the deadlift. So 375 will be the attempt for Juan Gonzalez. So Juan with a 375-pound attempt. Oh, and actually we will have an attempt here in slot number 4 with Brian Valdez. And maybe it's Brian's attempt that's 375. So Brian is going to set his first attempt. 375. As works on getting it up, and he will get it up. Can he straighten up? He gets it struck. He gets it straight. And he will be successful in his 375-pound attempt. So, wow, that was exactly what he did at the tournament back in December. So he has equaled his best mark for the season.
Oh, yeah. Lucky he had about 30 more pounds to that. That was a good lift.
So how can you tell, though, when you know, too much is too much?
Well, you can kind of tell if the kids are struggling a little bit. They'll kind of get stalemate with the weight a little bit, starting to strain a little bit, and you know, the smoother it is, you know, the more they can go up with the weight.
So now Daniel will work. We'll prepare for his lift. So we're preparing, I believe this is a 200 and, what was the number on this, Coach? Was it 275?
Yeah, like 275.
So 275, Daniel Chaparro.
Oh.
So 325. So 325, and since you heard him, even, we stepped up to it and got his hands on it, but never, attempted anything, and so stepped off the weights, never left the ground. So he can continue that attempt with, and take that attempt without it counting against him, if I'm understanding what Coach Landreth is telling us
yes,
there.
Sir.
So 165 as we will head down to the end for Ali Prieto. So a 165-pound attempt for Ali, as she will get it up off the ground, straighten it up.
That was easy.
And so, yeah, easy. Yeah, made it look easy. Believe me, it's not easy. So Ali Prieto with a 165-pound attempt and a successful attempt for the Hobbs Lady Eagle. So 165 pounds on that attempt. Of course, we are at the Hobbs High Multi-Purpose Facility, weight powerlifting. This is the Powerlifting State Championship. 6 Hobbs Eagles participating today, and we are here courtesy of our friends at XL Energy. XL Energy, together we will power through. Appropriate enough, we're doing powerlifting and talking about powering through. Friends at XL Energy, XL.com. Pay your bill right there. Find out what they are doing for our communities. So getting ready is Athletic Director Brenda Wilson, helping take pictures and wants to know where we're going next. Well, if you figure it out, Ms. Wilson, let us know, because that way I'm not chasing around quite so much. But, of course, it's okay, and we are glad to have you with us wherever you are around the world here on HobbsAmerica.com or on the Hobbs Eagle YouTube channel, Hobbs Sports YouTube channel. From the Walmart Digital Solutions, I'm TJ Miracle, alongside Coach Q here in the weight room of the facility. And this is a fantastic facility, Coach. It's actually the first time I've ever been in here. So,
oh, yeah, this is better than most college facilities.
Of course, with the indoor practice facility for the football team, and then this big, beautiful weight room. So preparing for Daniel and what he is going to do. So as we will slide back out to Juan Gonzalez. So Juan easily picks up that amount of weight. So Juan, no problems at all with that one, Coach. Didn't look like, anyway.
No, that was pretty easy for him. I think that was a 385.
It's a 385, so improved over his first lift by 10 pounds. So 385 pounds for Juan Gonzalez on I believe that was his second attempt. So Juan was successful, as we'll move now to Malachi as he will make his next attempt. Malachi with 300 pounds in his second attempt just a few minutes ago. This will be his third attempt in the deadlift.
I think we're at 310 right now.
So as he gets ready, gets set. So picks it up, evens it up, straightens it up. Controls it. And sets it down, and so a 310-pound deadlift. That'll be a pretty good number in the book for Malachi, who's, 150 pounds. So So very, very good lift there for Malachi Rodriguez. We'll move on to Brian Valdez as he will prepare for his next attempt. And, of course, as soon as the deadlift is done, we will move on to the bench press portion. So now it'll be Brian Valdez with his next attempt at 375 earlier. So prepares for his next one. So waiting, and I do believe. So the question is that an attempt, Coach, that failed? I believe it might be. Well, since the weight didn't clear the ground, yeah, he will. He will try it again.
Never cleared the ground.
So he's got to get everything set. Of course, Coach Landreth telling him, get it all set in, get it locked in. And now, with encouragement from his teammates, Brian just unable to attempt that one, but a lot more weight on that one. But 375, still a pretty good number, to be sure. That will go in the books for Brian Valdez.
You know what? I think that last lift he did might have been 365, and this is 370. He's trying to attempt.
Okay. And we'll double check on those numbers, of course, as we, before we sign off, to make sure that we are giving you the correct and the proper numbers. So he was attempting 390. So got the 375, but was attempting 390. So attempting 380. So. So, okay, going to take the 375. Nothing in the world wrong with 375 pounds. So
that was right. I guess we were right the first time. I tell you, man, those rubber weights.
Yeah, hard to keep up with them. So now Daniel Chaparro, he will go back up for his next attempt. And of course, we'll be moving on into the bench press portion right after this. So 275 attempt for Daniel Chaparro, and he will pick it up, and he will get it up. And, yep, a completed lift for Daniel Chaparro. So 275 pounds for Daniel, and that'll be a good number for him to put in the book. So all of the Hobbs Eagles, I do believe, have gotten their lifts. Actually, we may still be waiting on one from Juan Gonzalez, as he is still up on the platform. Also still over on the platform, Canyon Johnson. So we'll wait and see if they still have one lift to go as we prepare for the bench press portion. And again, we will double check all of our numbers as we get through this.
That was a real smooth lift from Daniel. It was very smooth. Technique was great.
Well, that's what it's, we talk about it, and there is a technique to this and to make it work. I'm trying to look down and see if we're going to have another one down there with Ali. Yep, as Ali Prieto does still have the bar down, so we'll come down and zoom in on that. So Ali still with an attempt on this one, did get up 165 earlier, and so she will make that one. Gets it up, and easy enough. Was that 175, Coach?
That was 170.
170. Well, that's still, she made that look pretty easy. So 170 pounds for Ali Prieto. So she will up her score here at the multi-purpose facility. So each one of our lifters, though, is really doing, a pretty good job and has gotten some good lifts in.
Oh, yeah, they're competing at a real high level. I'm very proud of these Hobbs Eagles right now.
So doing a great job in representing Hobbs and Hobbs High School extremely well. And again, looks like we do still have Juan Gonzalez and Canyon Johnson still with weights on the ground, so preparing for another lift. I believe it will be Canyon who goes next. Let's get this switched back over. Canyon getting some final instructions from the coach. I'm sorry, that's Juan. Getting some final instructions for the coach. It did 385 in his last lift. So, and Coach, how much was it? And so 355 on this one, but did get that third number up. So, so 355. If I'm not mistaken, 385 was his top. But again, we will check these before it is all said and done. So got that one up, and a successful lift for Juan Gonzalez.
That might have been 455. Yeah, that's kind of 355, kind of baby weight for him.
Well, still, though, 3 successful lifts for him, and you got to feel good. 375, 385, and then, maybe just keeping himself warm down there.
Oh, yeah. He could have lifted that in his sleep.
So now Canyon will try again. He did successfully do 290. So Canyon will get that one up. And Canyon was successful in that lift. And we'll try and get a number on that one.
300.
So 300. So Canyon successful 300, so that'll better his best by 10 pounds. Did get up 290, so a successful attempt with 300. So good scores there. Johnson with 300, 385 for Juan Gonzalez. Malachi Rodriguez with a 310-pound lift. I believe 375. Yep, 375 for Brian Valdez, 275 for Daniel Japaro, and 170 for Ali Prieto. Looks like Ali may be taking another one down there, or is she taking the weights off? Oh, and we're going to have another one here for Daniel, so he's going to attempt 280. So trying to come 5 more pounds up. As we'll come up for Daniel, and Allie will be taking one more, so this will be Daniel's third lift attempt at 280 pounds. So got the 275 up, so you wouldn't think 5 pounds would be that much more, but it can really add to it, can it, Coach Q?
Oh, yeah. When you kind of get up there in some high weight numbers, then, it can really make a big difference in the weight. I'm surprised he didn't go up an extra 10 or 15 pounds, because that lift he just did a second ago was real smooth. It was no shaking or stalemates at all in that last lift, so I'm surprised he just went up 5 pounds. But it's a chess game when it comes to powerlifting.
Well, yeah, you're trying to get of course, the highest number that you can, but, sometimes saving the best for last, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Like they're going up in weight. That must have hurt me.
You convinced them to go up, I guess, Coach. So now to 285 as they add another 5 pounds onto it. So that would be 10 pounds more than he managed in his second lift. And we have received word that Ali Prieto will also be attempting a third lift. So Japaro steps up on it, starts preparing himself, and he will pick it up. It's off the ground, and he straightens up easily and then gets it down nice. So 285 pounds. And so a good number there for Daniel competing here in this state tournament, in this state meet. So in the 250 in the squat, I believe, 285 in the deadlift. So a nice job for him. Looked like he didn't have too much trouble with that, Coach.
Not with that added weight. He should have
gone another 10 pounds.
Yeah, he looks like a 325 kid for sure. Hey, he'll know next time. That was kind of light for him.
Well, definitely getting it, definitely learning. And Ali Prieto will have one other. She did successfully deadlift 170 a little while ago, so now she'll be attempting 185. And of course, I apologize on the camera angles here. We're having to shoot through the equipment. to maintain proper distancing as Allie will get that one up. And if she straightens it up, she has it. And she will set it down. And so 185, a successful attempt for her. So another weight increase for one of these Hobbs lifters, Coach. And looked like she didn't struggle with that one too much either.
She's very, very strong. Comes from a background in powerlifting.
And I believe I heard her father say earlier when we were waiting for the festivities to start that she'd be wrestling this year.
Oh, yeah. No, that'll be great for the Hobbs community. She'd be a great wrestler. Very athletic, tough.
You got to be tough to play any sport, mentally and physically too. So always great, though, to see these young men and women competing. So Canyon actually going to make his third attempt at 315. He did get up 300. Somehow I got an attempt off there, so we'll slide it back down to the end here as we prepare. So Canyon going to take one more attempt at 315. We'll step over to the bar. Canyon ready as coach goes over to keep an eye on him. So Canyon at 315 will up it, and he will straighten up. Controls it all the way down in 315. So Canyon Johnson 315 increases his total by 15 pounds on that lift, Coach Q.
Oh, yeah, he's tough, and that's just a freshman.
Wow. Football player, I'm hoping?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The future is bright.
Pardon me, I've got to remember to hit the right buttons before I have to cough. Hi, Tony Baker. Tony Baker from NMTX Sports. And I'm pretty sure you were smiling. You were doing the proper thing. I am not wearing my mask at the moment, but we are properly distanced. I am more than 6 feet away from everyone. So
yes.
So we will be preparing for. All right, so they're going to start warming up on the bench press as we take one more lift here for Daniel Shapiro. So with Daniel, it'll be his third attempt. Did get 285 up earlier. So repairs. So didn't manage to pick it up, so he does not lose his turn here as the weights did not come up off the ground.
Yeah, I think he'll wore himself out.
I want to make sure you're in the right position and in the right frame of mind. So he'll work on it. Shakes a little, but he will straighten it up. Straightens, brings it down, and yes, he got it. And, Coach, do you know the number on that?
I'm not sure.
Maybe 290? 290. So a 290-pound lift. That is a very good lift. So we are through the first two rounds here in the powerlifting tournament. So 290 for Daniel Chaparro with a nice job by him, and all of these lifters now preparing for the third skill, I guess we could say, which is the bench press. I'm TJ Miracle alongside Coach Q. Now, you know, I kind of touched on this just a second ago, but I didn't even think about it. You know, there is a lot of mental that goes with powerlifting, too. You've got to think you can do it and want to believe you can do it, right, Coach?
Oh, yes, sir. You got to step in there. You got to know you can do it. You gotta have that dog mentality that you're gonna get the job done. You're gonna make the great lift, and that weight do not own you. You own the weight.
Well, and there's something to be, you've got to own it, and you've got to do that. So there is obviously physical because you're moving a lot of metal around, but you got to believe you can do it. So the mental aspect of the game is, I think maybe sometimes underrated. You're not just some muscle-bound guy or gal who can come out and just do it. You've got to believe you can do it, and you've got to be in the right frame of mind. So that's something I think maybe some people overlook here.
Oh yes. It's probably 25% strength and 25% technique and 50% willpower.
Willpower, you can do an awful lot on it. So they're preparing for the bench press portion. So let's give you the numbers that we have. And, of course, we will be double-checking these before we go off the air here after a while. And we'll start with Johnson, as I believe his best squat attempt was 250, and then 315 in the deadlift for Juan Gonzalez, 365 in the squat, and then 385 in the deadlift. Malachi Rodriguez with 240 in the squat and 310 in the deadlift. Brian Valdez, 345 in the squat, 375 in deadlift. Daniel Chaparro with 250 in the squat, 290 in the deadlift, and then Prieto 120 in the squat and 185 in the deadlift in the girls division. So again, we'll double check all these numbers, make sure that we got them right before we go off as the warm-ups continue here for the lifters.
I think that was Brian's first lift with 235.
I believe that was. I think you're absolutely right on that. I'm kind of keeping up with this. Oh, so Brian did do his first lift. Is that?
Yes, sir.
So 245 attempt for Brian, and it will be his first attempt on the bench press. So a 245-pound attempt, and it will be his first attempt. All right, so we're getting underway on this one pretty quickly here.
Remember, after you go 4, it's 6, 4, then it's 1, 3, and then it's 1. Okay? Make sure you let me know when you're on that last attempt where we're starting those PRs.
As again, we appreciate you being with us. We are at the Hobbs High Multi-Purpose Facility for the state powerlifting tournament. The Hobbs portion of it, each school doing their portions of it at their own schools, at their own locations, and then the numbers will be turned in on Tuesday to the NMAA. And again, to maintain proper social distancing and everything, we don't have just the perfect camera angles. We apologize in advance for that, but in order to keep ourselves safe and to keep the kids and the coaching staff and the volunteers safe, we are set off to the side. This was the designated area for us, but we appreciate you coming along with us. I don't know. I think maybe I need to talk to Miss Wilson. Maybe we need to have a press box built in here so we can look down on it. I like that idea.
Oh, yeah, we need some better angles up in here.
As we prepare for the bench press portion of this, as Brian Valdez will make his first attempt at 245. Of course, in each discipline, they get 3 attempts. So 245 will be Valdez's first attempt. He comes over to the near side and gets into the rosin. Important to have that. Don't want the bar to get all slippery on you. So preparing mentally. I notice he's got the AirPods in. Getting himself warmed up and prepared. As the other Eagle powerlifters continue to warm up and prepare for their individual lifts. Of course, this is our first live sporting event in nearly a year here in Lee County, and it is the powerlifting state tournament. So now Brian will attempt at 245, And he brings it down, holds it up, and then pushes, gets it up, and puts it back on the rack. And so, good at the. Will that attempt count? I know he had a little trouble pushing it up and got a little off center there.
Right. It'll count as long as the weight doesn't go back down in any way. Even if it goes down 6 inches, it won't count. But as long as he stalemates it and keep the weight, pushing forward, then it'll be a good lift.
And continues to push up. All right. Well, 245 is successful. I'm guessing your spotter can't grab it for you either.
No,
so.
No.
So 245, a successful attempt for Brian Valdez, his first attempt in the bench press. And of course, he'll reset and put some more weight on it for his second attempt. So did he say 265? Is that what Coach said?
255.
Oh, 255, okay. Old ears and we're wearing headphones, so it's old ears for me, and we're wearing headphones, so a little hard to tell sometimes as the other Eagles preparing for their attempts. Getting it all ready.
Brian Valdez, he's jumping up 30 pounds from his last lift. Was it week 8, week 2?
Yeah, week 2 back in December. Of course, the January meet was canceled because of COVID concerns, so. So, of course, we have 6 lifters here this afternoon in Kenyon Johnson, also Juan Gonzalez, Brian Valdez, Malachi Rodriguez, Daniel Chaparro, and Ali Prieto. So 5 Hobbs Eagles, 1 Hobbs Lady Eagle lifting here today in this powerlifting tournament. This is the state tournament portion. Of course, had a couple of prelim meets, and now the finals for the state. We won't know till Tuesday afternoon who the medalists and the champions are. That's when the results have to be turned into the NMAA office, is on Tuesday afternoon. Of course, we'll know it by then. But whether we have any medalists or a team medal or not does not matter. It's still incredibly important that these kids are out here competing and just doing a whale of a job and representing Hobbs schools and themselves. With Coach Q, I'm TJ Miracle. Of course, our powerlifting tournament is brought to you today by our friends at XL Energy. XL, together we will power through. XLenergy.com. Find out more about XL, and we are in attempts now for every single player, every single lifter, as that's what we just heard from the coach. So our next attempt upcoming, looks like it might be Brian Valdez going to go again here, Coach, with 255.
That's a big jump, 30 pounds. Getting stronger.
Oh. Okay, we are going to move down to the end, and we're going to go with Canyon here at 165. So he gets it up with ease, pulls it down to the chest, and now pushes it back up. And easy enough. Canyon made that look pretty simple, Coach. 165 up and at him.
Oh, yeah, he didn't struggle with that at all.
And so we will move on to our next, which will be Juan Gonzalez, who's going to attempt 245. We will be next when Coach gets over there to spot him. But a 245-pound attempt. So the 245-pound attempt for Juan Gonzalez. Gets it off the pegs. Gets it down to the chest. Starts pushing. Has to push. Nope, and that one will be unsuccessful as the spotter had to move in. But so not quite successful on that one, but he's still got 2 more attempts for Juan Gonzalez. Now Malachi Rodriguez as 175 will be Malachi's first attempt. As Coach taking just a moment to make sure that everything, stays in the books and goes like it's supposed to. You got to keep the numbers. What would life be without paperwork, Coach? Probably a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you having us along wherever you happen to be. Of course, we are broadcasting on HobbsAmerica.com on the Hobbs Eagles Sports Channel. We are also on the Hobbs Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com. Just search for Hobbs Sports. And so now we're actually going to skip Malachi, and we're going to come back to Brian as his second attempt, 255 pounds. He'll attempt his next one. Gets it down and has to push, and nope, is not successful with 255. So not successful, but does still have one more attempt to go. He'll get it. Like to hear the encouragement from the volunteers and the teammates. But a good attempt, got it down, but just had a little trouble. Kind of looked like it kind of wobbled on him a little bit, maybe a little off balance, Coach.
Yeah, he was a little off balance. He got to be sure to keep those feet planted on the ground. When he lifts, they'll kind of throw you off. And also, if you don't keep your feet on the ground, that makes it a no good lift. You got to keep 3-point contact with your feet, your butt, and your back.
So the feet, the butt, and the back. That is good to know. And again, that goes into the form like we talked about earlier. So we will move back over to Malachi Rodriguez. His first attempt will be for 175. So gets it off of the bar, brings it down to the chest, and pushing. Gotta get it up, but no, was unsuccessful at 175. But a valiant attempt at 175, but unsuccessful for Malachi. So now,
And Daniel just completed a 135 lift with bench. It was really easy.
all right, so Daniel with a 135 in the book.
That kid don't know his own strength.
So, yeah, with a 290 on the deadlift and a 250 on the squat. So he'll be attempting his next one in just a minute. So now, so 135 as we will move down to Allie. So Allie, I believe, is going to be attempting 65. So Allie Prieto attempting 65 pounds. Gets that one out and up, brings it down, and will push, and not able to get the 65 up. So a little bit of trouble with the bench press for some of these kids in the first round, Coach Q.
Oh yeah, it's kind of different, from them practicing lifting weights and actually the powerlifting competition. Because with the bench, you gotta pause, once you get the bar to your chest, and that pause has to be for at least 1 second or 0.5 seconds, but it has to be a good pause, and the bar has to come to a stalemate, has to come to a motionless stop, and then you once the judge will tell you to push. So that's kind of difficult, because and then you're pushing dead weight.
Right. So there's no momentum left either way to help with that. I wouldn't have even have really considered it, but a good one. So we'll move down to 170 as we move down to Canyon for his next attempt. So he will bring it up, brings it down to the chest, starts pushing, and unable to complete the 170 pounds. But in the books with a 165 a moment ago. And so now we will move over to Juan Gonzalez for his next attempt. Attempted 245 a moment ago, but do we know what Juan's trying this time, Coach?
Oh, yes, sir. He came back down to 235.
So 235 this time for Juan. Juan puts it down, tries to push it up, but is unable to complete that attempt.
Yeah, and I've seen him bench a lot more than that during workouts, so I think his body's starting to shut down.
Getting a little bit tired. I mean, these kids have been here and they've been doing good work. So Malachi Rodriguez will be the next up, attempted 175.
Yeah.
a few minutes ago. And what's his next attempt, Coach?
This is 170.
So
175, excuse me.
So he did not get 175 earlier, but he will attempt the 175 once again. So attempt number 2. And we'll pick up number 2. Brings it down to his chest. Trying to get it, and 175 just does not seem to be agreeing with Malachi right now, Coach Q.
Oh, no. I mean, that's great technique on the way down, you know. Man, that's the hardest part about powerlifting is that pause, you know, that pause, trying to get up out of that, trying to get up out of the hole, as I call it, you know. And, that's just the worst part about powerlifting. Like I said, kids have been doing the squat and the deadlift, and their body's about maxed out, and they're trying to grab every little bit of energy they can to complete the competition.
So now Daniel Chaparro, he will make his next attempt. He was successful at 135 earlier, so he will make his next attempt, and we'll try and get the number. Are we up to 140, Coach? Is that?
No, he's on 155.
So 155. Okay.
He made a good jump. That'll be a.
So yeah, a 20-pound jump from his first successful lift is.
This will be a great lift for him. A good number to put up.
He brings it all the way down.
Oh yes.
And he will push it up, no problem at all. Yeah, 155 pounds. And
Yes.
Daniel just is a soccer player, I believe.
Yeah, he's a soccer player. He don't know his own strength.
Maybe convince him to come over to the football team for a little while too, Coach.
Oh, yeah, I have to. I tell you what, those soccer players make great kickers, and we need somebody who can kick 60 yards.
Wouldn't be a bad thing.
Not at all. I don't know the way he's lifting those weights. Shoot,
155. He might could do quite a bit more as we'll go
yeah.
back to the end with Ali Prieto. So easy enough on that up. She'll pull it down and push that one back up, and that one was successful. And so do we know what the weight on that one was, Coach?
Yes, it was 65 pounds.
So 65. She did successfully get the 65 up this time. Pardon me, that was her second attempt, so did get the 65 up the second time. That we are through 2 rounds of the powerlifting, or rather the bench press portion of the powerlifting. As Coach will come all the way back down, as we'll prepare for the next one here with Canyon. And again, I apologize about some of the angles. We got to keep everybody apart and safe. So a 170 attempt again for Canyon, who does have a 165 safely in the books. So 170, as he'll bring that one easily down. Starts pushing up, but nope, struggles to get it. So he will finish up with 165 on the bench press, but still a pretty good number there. So we will have a redo on the. So we will have a redo judge's call.
Yeah, it's just too long of a pause for him.
So we got another attempt at it. So 235 will be the next attempt for Juan Gonzalez. So Juan trying that one just a moment ago. Was unsuccessful, but he will try again. But Canyon Johnson, and you mentioned he was just a freshman, right, Coach?
Yes, sir, just a freshman.
So, I mean, 250 on the squat, 165 on the bench, 315 on the deadlift. That's still a pretty good number to put up there.
Oh, yeah, he got a lot of room for improvement, a lot of room for growth.
And just a freshman.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. So Juan Gonzalez, he will step up next and attempt 235 once again. He brings it down, starts pushing, is almost there, pushes, still tries. Got to straighten that other arm out, and was that successful? I think it was.
Oh, yeah, that was successful.
So a successful lift of 235 on the bench press for Juan Gonzalez. And again, we'll try and double check these numbers and get them to you, but if my numbers are right on Juan, 365 on the squat, 235 on the bench, 385 on the deadlift. So that'll be a huge number. So let's see, that's 3, 6, 8. I mean, that's over 1,000 pounds.
Oh, yeah. And one's kind of at a disadvantage, with his body type. He's a real big kid, lineman, but he has long arms with his short in stature.
So now we'll come over to Daniel Chaparro with his third attempt. Brings it down to the chest. Is Daniel going to keep pushing up, but unable to make that attempt. So he'll finish with a 135, but was successful. I'm sorry, at 155. So 155, a good job for Daniel. 250 on the squat, 155 on the bench, and 290 on the deadlift. So again, a great job for him as we have one lift left to go as Ali Prieto down at the end. So she will settle in. She will attempt another one at 65. Successful earlier. Brings it down, but
I'm 75.
Now it's up to 75, and I think Coach, that one a non-successful attempt, but still 65 on the bench.
Yeah, she could have had that lift. She was just unbalanced a little bit.
So the Hobbs Eagles and their portion of the powerlifting is over, but successful attempts for all of the players and all of the individual athletes doing a fantastic job. And of course, we thank the Hobbs Municipal Schools for letting us come in, and we will again double check on all of the numbers before we sign off here. But of course, thanks to the players and the athletes.
Okay, so all lifts have been finalized and marked off. So now what we do is we go to the NMAA website, and then each category we'll put in for each kid, weight division, classification, and then the marks will be put in. From there, they'll go into a data point. They'll check to see where we're scoring against everybody else, and we'll get our final results hopefully in like a week. So we'll see. Kids did good today.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. We appreciate you letting us have us out, and of course they'll be double checking all those numbers, and we'll get those and we'll get them posted for you here after a while. So, Coach Q, great to have live sports back, and I know we're looking forward to the team sports coming up again, hopefully on the 27th with volleyball and on March the 5th with our football. So, good job by these kids out here today. We'll see where the numbers stack up with the rest of the state. But final thoughts before we sign off.
Oh, man, they did a great job. I'm excited to be in here with you, TJ. I appreciate you having me out, and it was just good to see the kids start to compete again.
Well, it certainly was, and thanks for putting up with me and keeping, and explaining kind of what was going on. And it's a team effort even in the broadcasting side of things. So with that, we will put a wrap on this one, my friends. The Hobbs Eagles and one Lady Eagle participating in the 2020-2021 NMAA State Powerlifting event from here at the Hobbs High Multipurpose Facility. Great job for these men and young women. I'd like to thank the Hobbs Athletic Department for having us out, and hopefully we'll be back with you. The governor will sign off on everything, and of course we'll be back for volleyball on the 27th of this month, and then football on March the 5th. So for Coach Q, I'm TJ Miracle saying so long from the multipurpose facility. The powerlifting meet here today was brought to you by our friends at XL Energy. XL Energy, the power to move forward. So great to have you here today, and thank you for tuning in on HobbsAmerica.com and on the Hobbs Sports YouTube channel. Have a great weekend, everybody.